The way the carbon permit exchange works is these permits are bought. They're bought at anywhere from $1.80 to $2. That's if you're a registered trader and you can get into the top secret auction. The person buying those permits will then sell them to an energy producer down the line for a profit. As the supply goes down, the demand goes up, and energy production demands go up. And those permits are expected to sell from anywhere to $20 to $100 a piece. Now, if you bought it for $2 and you sell it for $20 or $100, you can do the math. It's not a bad deal for those on that end. But for the ratepayer, the cost of those permits get passed directly to the ratepayer in the form of high energy use. This is what's called command and control environmental policy. They control consumption by commanding the prices, by driving the prices so high that you have no choice but to turn off your air conditioner, turn off your lights, turn off your refrigerator. You know, back in December, I was down at the Cancun UN Climate Conference, and I went to the House of the Future, the environmentally friendly House of the Future, which was pretty startling. But the most startling part was the laundry room, which had a wash tub and a washboard to return to. And we made a big issue of that. This is the vision, you know, of the environmentalists. So we began to raise, you know, the specter here in the threat of, and we did a rally down on Wall Street back when nobody was paying attention. It was quite cool.
Your friends, most of your family, most of your neighbors have no idea that every single month they are paying a cap and trade tax on their utility bill because it's hidden in the rate base. It doesn't say cap and trade tax. It is hidden inside the rates that we pay every single month. So,
ladies and gentlemen, you're here today in front of the offices of the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, the sketchy, shadowy, clandestine, top-secret organization. That's exactly what it is.
I like that sketchy, shadowy, clandestine. It's all true. That's the best part about it. The head of the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative last year bought a nice little condo in Tribeca, which is only a few blocks away from that office. $2 million cash, not bad. Not bad for the head of an environmentally friendly group. And of course, the people at RGGI claim they're a nonprofit entity and not open to public record requests, but that's another story. Back when we did that rally, which was only a few months ago, there was no sign of any effort to repeal cap and trade in any of the 10 states. One legislator, Assemblywoman Allison McCose, who stands about 5 feet tall if she's in high heel shoes, up in Sussex County, agreed to sponsor a repeal bill, the first one in the entire Northeast, the first legislature. This was despite, a Republican administration under Governor Chris Christie, who was reported to be a major supporter of cap and trade, who pressured her not to take this step. But she broke that mold. That was back then, which was only back in, I think, June. Right, Chris? June? Yep. That we did that. Today we have 36 sponsors in New Jersey on the bill. 36.
That's beautiful.
When I spoke to you guys here some months ago, early about this, we talked about Senator Jerry Cardinale. He has agreed to sponsor the bill. So is Charlotte Vandervalk and your other legislators. New Hampshire has a repeal bill that will pass out of committee Thursday and go to a vote of the full legislature in a week. We expect it to pass. We expect New Hampshire to be the first state to pull out of cap and trade. We're introducing bills in Maine. So we've also built a network of allies around the country, Americans for Tax Reform, National Taxpayer Union, Cato, and a whole host of others. But let me talk to you about, guys, and one of the things, you know, last weekend we did a leadership training program for Tea Party leaders. I don't want to just get up here and talk to you about a problem. I want to tell you the solution and how we're going to win. So I'm actually going to lay out to you our 4-part strategy, how we're going to repeal cap and trade, because we have to. The future of our economic prosperity depends on this. So our 4-part strategy has 4 components. The first component is the grassroots. That's really where many of you come in. Grassroots activists, citizen activists like you are educated, who understand this issue, are extremely effective when they pick up the telephone and call their legislators. Extremely effective when they get on the phone to talk radio shows, which you'll learn in a minute. Extremely effective at writing letters to the editors. I have 800 people across New Jersey who have agreed to help write letters to the editor on this issue from different perspectives. Why it's banned, why it should be repealed, why it's going to drive out jobs, why it's the Asian Full Employment Act, etc. Through our grassroots activities, what we need to do is hold our elected officials accountable. I'll remind you that the entire New Jersey State Legislature is up for re-election this year. The whole legislature. Every single one of them. And they're going to be in new districts. So now they're going to be accountable to a whole new group of voters, or a bunch of new voters. We need to make this issue the preeminent issue in this campaign. This, to me, and I'm a policy wonk and I'm an economist, this is the single most destructive government policy I have ever seen implemented in this state. The income tax is bad, the sales tax have bad ramifications. This is the most devious and potentially destructive of all government policies ever passed in this state. We have to stop it. And the grassroots, you guys, each and every one of you, can be an individual political machine in making this an issue in the state. What they want to do, the Republicans and Democrats, because a lot of Republicans aren't on repealing, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want this to be an issue because they can't win that argument. They do not, they want it to go away. They want it to be quiet. They hate the fact that we're elevating this issue. Hate it. You should have heard the calls I got back when I did that rally. Hey, Steve, you know, we're the Republican. Well, you're a Republican, and, you know, we'll do the right thing. Yeah, when? Right. Step one, the grassroots. That's what counts. Step two, direct mail. Through our targeting efforts, I'm not supposed to use that word. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, you're with us.
Through our focused efforts, we are going to do educational direct mail into key districts, educating voters about the dangers of cap and trade, what it means to their pocketbook, what it means to their jobs, what it means to the future of the state. That's the educational portion. In the districts where legislators are sponsoring the bill, we're also going to send out mail thanking them and telling voters that their legislators are standing up for them. The reason that's important is we forget to thank the people who put their neck on the line. We forget that. We need to do that. We need to tell Senator Cardinale, and we need to tell Charlotte Van der Volk, and especially Michelle, Allison McCose, and others, thank you for putting your neck on the chopping block for us. That's also important because they're going to get pressure. Going into November, they're going to get pressure from environmental groups that they're trying to destroy, and they're going to bring climate change back to New Jersey. So that's important in our direct mail campaign. We will be doing that. The third part is mass media. That's television and radio targeted to key areas to educate voters. I'm going to show you those spots in a minute. Earned media with paid media. What is earned media? Earned media is when you do a press conference or a press event and you get a story written about this issue. That can be done by a Tea Party group doing a press event with a local business that relies on energy and is going to get slammed by this and making an issue of it and inviting the press. Restaurants in New Jersey have the tightest profit margins of any restaurants in the country. They use a lot of energy. They're already hurting. A 90% increase in electricity, imagine what it does to those types of business. So we're going to do television and radio, which I'm going to show you in a moment. The fourth part, the new component in campaign strategy is what's called new media. New media is the internet. It's emails, it's blogging, it's YouTube, it's Facebook, it's getting the message out, it's influencing voters. Years ago at AFP, we started a program of educating people on how to use new media. We are still doing that today. Overlaying everything else would be a new media component using all of those things. Twitter, Facebook, blogging, YouTube. And by the way, anybody can do it. There's no age restriction on it. So, and then there's another component. And that is undermining the credibility of ReGGIe. There's a great little entity out there called New Jersey Watchdog. New Jersey Watchdog is an investigative reporter, and I will admit, we supported the launch of this effort. The investigative reporter, Mark Lagovich, is a 3-time Emmy Award winner. And through his own initiatives and through support, he went out and he uncovered some pretty amazing things. He uncovered the fact, for example, and the media didn't do, the traditional media didn't uncover this. He uncovered the fact, and this is verified in proofs from that the consultants and the officials at RGGI made a major mistake in their calculations. that their program will not even reduce carbon emissions until sometime after the year 2031. Doesn't even work. He also uncovered the fact that they claim to be a nonprofit organization, that they're not transparent, and they will not give up a single public document to you, the taxpayers, or even elected officials. And that's a major court case right now. Even though they're set up by states, funded by taxpayers, they're claiming they're inoculated against any public information request, which is dangerous in any democracy, especially an entity like this. So you have that entity. But then, of course, there's the value of each and every individual, of being tenacious and punching our message through. Conservative media, folks, don't think they're any less potentially corrupt than the liberal media. They don't always report everything they should. They don't always get everything out that you think they should. They may not want to report on some of their favorites what they're really doing, for the truth to be told. So let's hear what one of our friends at AFP, Gina, did from Cherry Hill.
Let's go to Gina, Cherry Hills, New Jersey. What's up, Gina? How are you?
Hi, Sean. Thanks for taking my call. Well, I actually had two questions to ask you. I voted for Chris Christie, and I was very happy to do so, and I think he's doing a lot of great things for New Jersey. But my two concerns about him were, and maybe you can clear this up for me. One, from what I've read about him, he is a supporter of cap and trade, and we have New Jersey cap and trade, and I haven't heard him talk about that at all. And like I said, I've only read that he's a supporter, which really bothers me, coming from someone who's supposed to be a fiscal conservative.
Yeah, I don't know about that specific example. I was reading on Americans for Prosperity that in New Jersey that they were acting or ready to implement the government takeover of health care, and I know...
And that's a whole nother issue. One person to make... Now, when I met Gina a year ago and I was talking to her, she said, I'm too shy, I can't get on the radio. Well, guess what? She did. Each and every... Now, when you punch through on Sean Radio, nationally syndicated, on Sean Hannity, nationally syndicated, you're reaching a couple of million people. And that starts to get attention. And all of a sudden, calls get into Americans for Prosperity headquarters in Washington, D.C., from the administration. Hey, what's Lonegan doing? He's really shaking things. They said, well, that's what he's supposed to do. So that's what you can do. It's the kind of things that you can achieve. And I'll give you another story before I show you a TV spot. About a year and a half ago, one of our guys, George from Brick, George Humphreys from Tom's River, not Brick, we had launched our No Stimulus Bailout website, petition drive. George got on Rush Limbaugh in the afternoon, got through, talked about that website. Our website crashed that day from the traffic. We had over 350,000 signatures in 2 days. It was a one call by one activist to talk radio. And you can do that kind of thing. It's effective. So let's talk about our TV blitz, how we're going to educate voters across New Jersey and these other states over the next months to come. Chris, TV spot.
Rates are skyrocketing all over New Jersey, and the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative will drive them even higher by creating an artificial market in carbon permits. When fully implemented, rates can rise as much as 90% or more as speculators drive permit costs through the roof. And that bill goes not just to you, the energy consumer, but to your employer, the places you shop, and your local governments. The result? Higher taxes, lost jobs, and less freedom. It's got to stop. It's time to pull the plug on RGGI.